Hello, so this week we have an extra video. As you can see, that's why I'm popping up not on a Friday, and it's because we have a Q&A video to celebrate 25,000 subscribers. Thank you so much again. And I gotta tell you, I was really surprised that the day I posted the poll on what we could do different to celebrate. I was really surprised that that day a Q&A video was the #1 answer. Today, as I'm filming this, it has tied with the Create This Book Challenge Live. So at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you how I think we could do that as well. But today we're doing the Q&A, and really I'm super grateful for everyone who voted and everybody who submitted their questions. I am also super humbled. I didn't think this was something that would interest you, so thank you so much. I'm going to try to answer all of the questions. I have them here. This first one is a third-part question. It says, first, who or what inspired you to start drawing and crafting? Now, I've been a person who's drawn and crafted for as long as I remember. I remember my mom having her office, and I would make art with the little Post-its, and back then they used to have liquid paper in all different colors for the typing machine, so I would do art with that. So I think it's always been a part of my life in some level. And to explain this, I kind of need to explain my art journey to you. I've always painted. I remember in my teen years, I had an easel in my room with oil paints, and I was always interested. My school did not have a strong art program. It was just something that was there, but I was always interested. Now, I think as a teenager and probably as a young adult too, I wasn't really as clear in who I am as I am now after living through some things that have been painful. So art was something I did like a hobby, but I always took it seriously when I kind of needed an outlet or needed help. So yeah, it's always been there. Okay, so when did you start drawing and crafting? Same answer. I've always done it since I was a kid. Are you a full-time artist? Yes, I am. I'm so happy to be able to say that I am a full-time artist and now a YouTuber. These are my job titles, and I'm so happy they are so. What is your art design education, if any? And do you remember the first piece of art that you sold? Okay, so what's my art and design education, if any? I do have some. When I wanted to go, well, first of all, my high school, it didn't have a strong art program, but we did dabble in it. It's just, I don't know if that counts as an art education though, because it was pretty basic. But for college, I did want to study art, but my parents said no. You know, the whole starving artist thing, no, 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 no. And my mom really wanted me to study business management to take care of her business back then. And I wasn't really clear enough on myself and what I wanted to really put my foot down and be like, art, I want to study art or pursue a scholarship or whatever. So I didn't study art. I enrolled for business administration. And after the first semester, I changed careers to architecture. I did, I think, a year in that. And then I found interior design. And I did get a scholarship, so I moved from Ecuador to the United States to LSU, where I did get a bachelor in interior design. So that's the first part of my art education. And then when we moved as a family to the United States in 2018, I was going to try to get a master's in fine art, and I did 2 quarters in that. Is that what you call them, 2 quarters? I don't remember. Well, I did 8 months for a master's in fine art, and we did a lot of art history, and we did have studio, and I absolutely loved it. Back then, I thought the best job I could ever have would be to be an art curator, which I think I would still love. That's it. That's my art education, bachelor's in interior design, and 8 months of a master's in fine art. This is life. Okay, so do I remember the first piece of art I sold? Yes. And when I was 24, I put together an art show. It was mostly friends and family, one night only, like a very I don't know if to say casual, because it wasn't casual at all. It was very formal, but it was friends and family, and we had this art show. And the first piece of art that sold was to my grandma. That was super sweet, and then to some friends of the family. So that was nice and exciting, but it was still family. And it was still just a hobby, so I put all of the paintings I done. But in 2017, when I started posting my art on Instagram and sharing what I did sell my first painting to a stranger. It was one of my portraits, and that felt really exciting. I think it was $40, $50, I don't know, something little. I don't remember the piece, but I do remember the feeling, and it was amazing. So thank you, social media, because that really put my work in front of the eyes of strangers. Okay, so can you tell us more about what you do as a professional artist and how you became one? Edited to ask, what is your absolute favorite, most always have art supply? So that would be acrylics. I love acrylic paint in every form. I love my golden acrylics. They're my babies. They have like a special place, and I really take care of them. What do I do as a professional artist? You know what? Now I have become more organized, especially since doing YouTube, because I have a lot to do every single day. I work Monday through Sunday every week. Today is a Sunday. My kids are asleep because they're teenagers, so I thought I would do this today. What do? I do everything right now because I take care of my webpage, my social media, my paintings, filming, editing, marketing them, putting them up in the web pages where I sell my work, making local contacts to have them displayed somewhere in stores where they can sell as well. I haven't done shows in a while because I don't have the amount or the body of work that you need. I actually have very little paintings as we speak because my attention has been so much on YouTube. So how did I become one? Okay, so in 2017, my marriage started to crumble, I would say, and someone told me, listen, you've always painted, why don't you paint? It's gonna make you feel better. So I really hadn't picked up a brush since that art show I had when I was 24, which was back in 2004. So that was 13 years I hadn't painted, and I started painting, and I started to do the 100-day challenge, and I started to get back to it, and I started posting and sharing just to feel more accountable, I guess, to do the 100-day project. And I started to get interest and people asking for my drawings and my paintings. So that's how I started painting, like that first painting I told you about. And yeah, then I found a little shop here where I did the 30 and 30 project, where you would hang up I was doing portraits then, a portrait each day of the month. So at the end of the month, you had this very beautiful wall, 30 paintings, which all sold to strangers. That's great. And yeah, and then we moved to the United States in 2018, and then I did art shows there and galleries there. And, I started selling here and there like a hobbyist. But what happened was in 2019, late 2019, I got separated, came back to my country. And then, of course, 2020 came, and I was locked up and painting a lot, and people were buying paintings for their home. I was so lucky. I thought I was going to come back and maybe be an assistant to an art teacher. I had no clue what I wanted to do. I did not want to do anything but art. At least the boards and the paint of it kind of give me a clear vision of who I was. So I knew that was my joy there somehow in art. But I was so lucky and blessed that people started buying paintings, and DHL never stopped flying. So I could sell my paintings worldwide, and I was making a small living, and that's how I started. So yay. When did you know you wanted to create art? As I said before, always. Did you make art first, or were you interested in it first? I made art first for sure, because I've always made it. Did you develop your art as a young child? I did. Do you use sketchbooks? I do. I have 5 right now. Do you realize that the art you've made that caused the tantrums is likely art we wish we could make? No. No, I don't. I read this book by Elizabeth Gilbert. As an artist, and this probably happens to everyone as a creator, you imagine this thing you want to create. I think she called it an emerald butterfly. I don't remember the book, but it's the concept that there's something you want to create and you can imagine it, but in translation, it's not the jade butterfly. I don't remember it. And when you translate it to a physical thing, it's not the same. So that causes me a lot of frustration. I do have to tell you, I have a lot of imposter syndrome still. I am a full-time artist. My paintings have been sold all over the world. Now I'm a YouTuber and I still have it. Maybe it's because I didn't do a formal art education. Maybe it's because I still feel limited in translating what I dream about and what I create. But I haven't, and that's why I share, because one of the things that kept me from art for so many years, although I loved it, was seeing other people's work and knowing that I couldn't do the same thing, that I didn't have the skills. So I share because art just makes me happy, and I should not be deprived of that happiness just because the outcome is not what I'm dreaming. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is what I want to share and give to someone else because it helped me so much. Understanding it, it's not about the final product. Life is about pursuing your joy. And I learned this the hard way. It's about what makes you happy. So if doodling makes you happy and you hate the end result and you're gonna burn it after all, who cares? It's your happiness. So yeah, I don't realize it because it's my own frustration, but thank you. And I know who wrote this. This was Karen. I love you. You're the best. Thank you for pointing that out. Is art your full-time job? Again, yes, it is. Do you struggle with imposter syndrome? If so, how do you move past it? And I know you said you live in Ecuador. Are art supplies expensive in your country? Okay, so yes, like I said before, imposter syndrome, it's big. It's here. It's big. But I think especially in my sketchbook videos, I do share how I overcome it. I breathe, I get back to the moment, I talk to myself nicely. I remember it's just paper and art materials. I mean, it's not life and death. And I remember you. I remember your kind words and your appreciation, and that helps me a lot. So thank you. What was the other thing? Oh, art supplies in Ecuador. Yes, they are expensive because they get taxed heavily. But in general, they're a little bit more expensive, but more than the price, super limited. So I get most of my things from the United States. Why do you draw cute styles and not more realistic ones? And how did you start drawing? This is a great question. I have drawn it all. The first thing you see when you walk into my house is this painting that I made when I was between 15 and 17, I think. I'll check the date later. And I like it. I like doing realism, but not as much as I like creating creatures and characters. So again, is going back to what I love. I did a realistic drawing for one of the Create This Book things. I mean, I would like to be better at it, but to be better at anything, you need practice. And it's just not something like I want to run to my easel or to my desk to draw. Like one of my best friends, she's the most talented, hyper realistic artist. I'm going to share pictures. She's like, wow. But like she spent 6 months in a painting. I can't. It's not my personality. I would go crazy. I need something finished. I need the satisfaction, and I need to follow what makes me happy. And YouTube has been making me so happy. Like I wake up on Saturdays or Sundays at 6, 7, and the first thing I want to do is come to this desk and create something. So I'm following my joy, and this is why I'm creating cute styles, because it feeds my soul. Okay, if you could give advice to the younger you that you started the art journey, what advice would you give yourself? That follow your joy when you're doing something. If it makes you happy, record that somehow, maybe write it down so you have a bigger conscience about it, because that's what puts your life in order. Following your joy and being true to yourself and being, of course, a good person makes everything else around you fall into place. The money, the friendships, the relationships. When you're true to yourself and you follow what makes you happy and you honor God or the universe with that, it's just magical. So if you're starting your art career, don't think so much about what everyone else is doing around you, but follow your joy. Now, if you're lucky enough to be in an art school, right? And you have all of these teachers and all of this wisdom that you're getting, oh, grab it all, like suck it up and try every style, try every medium, because the only way you'll know what really resonates is by trying a lot of things, right? So that would be my advice. Who is your favorite artist? This is a hard question because I need a more specific question. From the masters, I love Klimt. It's maybe a cliche, but I love that. I love Rothko too. From contemporary big artists, I love Manolo Valdez. Like that's like probably the first thing I would purchase, one of his sculptures, if I were a billionaire, I don't know, a millionaire. I love it. And then, of course, on my Instagram account, I follow so many other contemporary artists, not as big, that I love. I don't remember their names right now. I'm really bad with names. Just so many artists that inspire me. It's crazy now, all this beauty we can see just by logging into Instagram, right? Or I sell my art through Saatchi Art, and in their platform also I found the best artists. So, and there's really affordable art in there if you want to look, but it's really hard to say one contemporary artist other than Manolo Valdez. I really love him. And yeah, from the masters, I already told you. So can you tell us what is your inspiration when it comes to character making? How do you stay motivated to just keep making art? So my inspiration is everything. I get inspired by everything I see, and somehow the ideas mixed in my head and I come up with stuff. With characters, I shared in that video where I created character making, I just see things in patterns. And what keeps me motivated is just that I love it so much. It's just, honestly, I find it beautiful that I can sit here and draw something cute and something nice, and I feel happy about it. So, of course, happiness motivates me. And again, it really helps that I found such a supportive and amazing community here in YouTube. Your comments, I mean, they really reach my soul, and this is why I try to do a little tag on every video of special comments, because I don't even know how else to thank you. It gives me so much love, and it's amazing. I'm so humbled and grateful for that. Is there an art style that you would like to try but didn't have time or energy so far? I don't know. I mean, probably. See, no, yeah, I do know. I would like to have more time just to develop everything, my own landscapes, explore more ways to do portrait, and like actually have one of those studios where you can just throw paint around and it won't look messy, and just do, like have the resources and time to just go crazy. So maybe that. I would like to try that. What's your favorite project to date? My first huge commission, the first large painting I got commissioned to do, it was a huge landscape. It was a workout to create. I'd never painted something that big, and I love the results. So that one for sure. I'd like to know how you manage your time to fit an art creative session into it. Do you create art every day or most days? See, since now I'm a full-time artist and I am also a almost full-time YouTuber, I create every single day. So this is how I managed to fit an art creative session, because it's my job. So I do have my little planner and I structure things a lot. So I know what I'm doing, and I know I have time to do the things that make me happy, and also, to pack paintings or to edit. Editing is growing on me, to be honest, but this is how I do it, because it's a full-time job. So it's a very big commitment on my side, and I take it very seriously. What is one medium you want to try? Spray paints. I don't know if it's only the Artist in Wonderland thing or this idea I have for a project, but I really want to try it. I have no clue how to do it. Of course, I can spray paint something solid, but I want to spray paint. Not necessarily a mural that seems very intimidating, but like something beautiful. I need to try it. And if I ever do that project, you'll understand what I mean, because it's not that big. What is your least favorite art supply, and what is your favorite? So my favorite besides acrylic paint are now color pencils. I discover that I love coloring now through YouTube, and I see the art that people create. Oh, and alcohol markers. Yeah, I like those two very much now. My least favorite art supply. I don't know, honestly. I haven't done oils or pastels in centuries, like literally since I was a teenager. So maybe those. I don't know. I don't think I have a least favorite, to be honest. I would play with whatever you bring to this table. What are your top 5 recommended art supplies? Also, huge congrats. Thank you. My 5 art supplies depends. If you're a beginner, definitely, like, I'm loving the Artix markers. I think for a beginner or for children, I think they're awesome for that. So maybe paint markers, alcohol markers. I wish I knew they existed when I was younger. They are amazing. I keep wanting to give a set to my daughter to take to school, but she doesn't want to. Coloring pencils, and of course acrylic paints. And you said 5. What would be number 5? Okay, so wait. Paint markers. I think the Artex, though, are easier to use than Posca if you're a beginner. Paint markers, alcohol markers, coloring pencils, acrylic paint, and what would be number? Oh, like you have to do pencil, like pencil, and I love a black line, so black markers, fine point. Yeah, I love those. I cannot leave with those markers. How do you create the large scale art mock-up pictures? So what I do to do the mock-ups and take the paintings to large scale, I just take a really good picture with my iPhone with daylight, and then I take the picture into this app called Smartest. And it's really easy to use, and they have different rooms, and then you can just imagine how that little drawing would look as a big mock-up. In materials, I also want to, it's not in the questions, but I really do want to say this again, because I get asked every single day. My sketchbook, the one I use every day, this one, it's locally made by an art supply store. It's nothing fancy. The nice thing, it has a hardcover back and front. And then the paper is just 250 grams watercolor paper. You can see the pages do warp. I have ones that are worse up there, that the warping is worse, but I don't mind. I like it. I like exploring. Let me get another sketchbook. Hold on. Like, you can see that the pages do warp from the watercolor, but I'm really okay with it because this is what I use my sketchbooks for, to explore. So that's the number one question I get. Where do I get my sketchbook? It's made locally, but it's just watercolor paper. The Canson sketchbook works perfectly. And the other question I get every single day is what markers I use to line up my work. It's the Edding 1880. They are available on Amazon. They're actually cheap. I love them. So what inspired you to start a YouTube channel? How did you start or decide on a topic, and how did you stay persistent and motivated? Okay, so my kids gave me this idea first, and I think it was like Inception. My kids discovered Mariah Elizabeth, I think it was in 2017, and we started watching, the 3 of us as a family. And you know, if you've been in this channel, you know I absolutely love her. And whenever we would watch, they would say, "Mom, you should do it. Mom, you should do it. Mom, you should do it. You do cute things. You're so talented. You're so creative. You should do it. You should do it." I never did back then. Too many limiting beliefs. Imposter syndrome was huge. Kids were not as aware as I was that, you know, the marriage was going down. So I didn't do it back then. And after I did become a full-time artist, I discovered TikTok. And I wanted to do something cutesy for myself. So when art became my job, it became a job. And I had a lot of stress sometimes, and it felt heavy sometimes and not as freeing because I was taking a lot of commissions, you know, to make ends meet, and commissions stress me. The expectation is so much bigger, and I want you to be the happiest person in the world with your painting. And I've done a lot of them, and everybody has always loved them, but it caused me a lot of stress. Another thing that causes me stress is marketing my paintings, like selling them or going to shows and talking about my artwork. I am a very I think I am an extroverted person, but talking about my art and like being like, hey, buy this, it's just really hard for me. So one day I was in my studio and I did a little painting for TikTok. It was a little TikTok, and this thing went viral. Like, I think it has 25 million views. And I was like, oh my God, this thing that I've always loved in my life, this making crafts and little things and trinkets and little decoration, has a space in the world, which I thought for the longest time it didn't. I thought it was, people make you feel it's a waste of time, or in my generation at least. And I was like, this is valid. I did do children's party decorations for a while before becoming a full-time artist, because I loved doing the little things and the little crafts and imagining things. But that was a crazy amount of work for what you can get, paid. I think there were a couple of times I actually lost money doing decorations. So TikTok made me realize there was space for this, especially because I started posting these little crafts I made, and then a company reached out and they bought 5 of my videos, and I was like, what? And I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. I'm gonna find something that makes me happy to balance out the stress from being a full-time artist. I'm gonna do the things that make me happy. I'm gonna paint little things, little trinkets. And that's what I started doing. So it's the topic. It was easy for me because I've been doing this my whole life, like little crafts and gifts and invitations. I stayed persistent and motivated because this is my happy place. It makes me so happy to create stuff like this. It feels, like I said before, it fuels my soul. So that's how I chose a topic, and this is what makes me keep inspired. Okay, so top 5 YouTubers you like to collab with. I think it's a given, and that Mariah Elizabeth for sure, not only because she's being my inspiration, but just her knowledge. And if we're talking about consistency, her knowledge, her editing, I think there's so much I could learn from her. So anyone I could learn from, that would be amazing. I also love Jackie. I think we would have a blast. Then, okay, I have to say something. Because of the Create This Book collab, a lot of my dreams have already come true, and I've been so lucky that I've gotten to meet so many of these artists, and we have a Discord, and in a way I have collabed with them already. So that's a blessing, and keep watching that collab because you're gonna be surprised by the people that are coming in. So that helps. Someone I really don't know is this artist Marco. The level of talent, I don't know what I could do for a collab with him, like put tape on. I don't know. It's just he's so crazy talented. I don't think I'm at that level. And then I would like to collab with YouTubers who are not necessarily in the craft space. Hope Scope, I think she's crafty because I see her content, and I would love to do something with her because I think it would be fun. And other YouTubers whose content, Jasa. I was forgetting about him. I would love to do something with him. He seems fun. Do you get inspiration from someone, or do you get all of your ideas for art videos yourself? It's a mix for sure. I get ideas for my own videos, and these of course are the worst performing. Like when I do my boxes, I don't know how my lion video is performing, but those are usually the ones that perform the worst. And then of course you have whatever's happening on the art side of YouTube. I want to try and experiment. Now for ideas, of course I get inspiration from all over the place, everywhere. Get inspiration from real art shows, get inspiration from Pinterest, from Instagram, from videos I watch. This is why I really try to share links to the stuff I've seen, or like put a picture up on my videos, because I want to try to explain how my brain works. It's usually I see 3 things and somehow in my brain they get combined and I come up with an idea, but I try to do my best to share how this happens. And a lack of memory, I said this in a video too, a lack of memory is also a good way to get inspiration. Like I see something and then the way I remember it, which is completely different, is the way I come up with new things. And also you you get an idea for inspiration, and then you take your sketchbook and you explore it and you change it and you redraw it and you do things, and then it ends up being something completely different. So I also do sketch a lot. Okay, next one. I noticed that you used to post your videos in Spanish as well, which I thought was a wonderful idea, but it seems you don't post in Spanish anymore. So because when I started going back to art, I started following the 100-Day Project and going into that community back in 2017. I started doing it in English. Even though back then I was here in Ecuador, I started doing it in English because everybody who was doing the 100-Day Project was only doing it in English-speaking countries, it seemed, or maybe just in the US back then. So it was really nice to connect with people then. And I actually have friends, artist friends that I met back then doing that project that we're still in touch. So since I started doing it in English, I started selling my work more in the United States. And then most of my followers from Instagram, I have the biggest community there, are either in the United States or France. So when I started the channel, what I did was I filmed 4 videos. And what I did was I took those videos, filmed different intros, and did a different voiceover, which I love, because if I ever do go do more Spanish content, I don't like the dubbing. I don't like the dubbing, and the languages are so different. The expressions, the jokes, the way I am in Spanish and English, it's different. So I don't like dubbing. And the thing is, the videos in English took off, and I cannot handle my full-time work as an artist and then editing the videos both in Spanish and English. I do hope as I grow as a YouTuber, I will start a Spanish YouTube channel, because I would be able to hire an editor, and then it would be easier for me just to do both voiceovers in English and Spanish. It would still take a lot of time, but have the videos be themselves, and they would probably also be edited a little bit differently because of how I talk and how I express myself and how I do I don't know, it's just different. So I don't want the same video dubbed or the same video with a different voiceover. There has to be little different things. I would love to have a Spanish channel, and that's one of my dreams, one of my goals. So let's hope we get there fast, where I can hire an editor to help me with this. Do you get paid from YouTube? If yes, does it mean your job it's your job now? Do I get paid from YouTube? Yes, I do now. Yay! I've been monetized for 3 months, so that's amazing, because I will never stop painting, but I like being a YouTuber more, if that makes sense. Just because of what I said before, the stress of selling the paintings. I like painting and just putting them out in the world, and if they sell, that's awesome. If they don't, they don't, because it's my work and there's meaning behind every single painting I put out there. So that would take a load off me if I would be like a full-time YouTuber that still has her art practice. Now I'm an artist that's also a YouTuber, if that makes sense. So yeah, YouTube pays me now, and I'm very, very happy about that. Okay, now to the general and personal questions, and we are at the end of the video almost. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay, so I think if you come from, God, how do you say this in English? If you come from the evolution standpoint, it's the chicken first, because, the reptiles evolved into birds. And if you come from the creation standpoint, it's the chicken too, because God created the chicken. So that's what I think. I don't know. It's just, I thought it was a funny question. Another question, can you give us your age range? 20, 25, 25, 30, 35, 35. I'm 43. So there. And the last question is, animals are a persistent theme on your show. Any plans to have your pets co-host with you? So my dogs have been around here throughout the whole recording. They make a lot of noise, so it's really hard to work with them. One of my pets, my Pekingese, if that's what she is, because they're both kind of adopted, She likes being on camera apparently because she climbs onto my desk a lot. But as far as having them co-host, I think it would be difficult. Okay, that's it for questions. And I did want to say I want to do the Create This Book 2 live. I think it would be fun, like I said, and like people chose to do it as a challenge. So I'll probably let you know when that will happen on my community tab. Again, thank you so much for requesting this. It's just being weird. I've never talked this much on camera. I'm dehydrated now, but I wanted to say thank you again. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on Friday with our regular video. Have the most wonderful day. Bye. This week because no, vaya a cortarse allá, vaya. She wants to get on the desk. Mis videos. Can you sit? Not there. Yucky. Ay, ay. No, Susi. ¿Y ahora? ¿Y ahora? ¿Y ahora? No, bobo. No.